All right.
All
Davey,
right.
why do this? What's achieved? What's good? What's fresh? Why do it? What's the point? Other than that, it sounds like a lot of fun.
One point that is not what you think I'm going to say is to practice procedure and make it not scary. We have to do procedure all the time. We have to like call the insurance company and make dinner and like take our dog for a walk and do lots of procedures that are multi-part and multi-step and hard to get started on. That's like part of what daily life is dealing with stuff that you don't want to do. And a mesostic is excellent practice for figuring out how to start a procedure where you don't know where it's going to go, you don't know what it's going to produce, but it's an exercise in process.
Very cool. Anna and then Gabe, what's the point? What's the value? Why do we like this?
One reason I really like it is it's a great way to make a poem that you admire or really don't admire. It can go kind of either way.
It becomes a kind of criticism?
A kind of criticism, and it makes it kind of alive for you.
How is this a criticism? I mean, you don't have the text in front of you, but I can find it. Where did I put it?
I wasn't really going to go in the direction of criticism. I was really more going to go in the direction of what a really tremendous way to like co-create something with a writer whom you especially admire or whom you find really difficult, right? Bart is a really difficult text to read. It's really long. It's a continuous sentence. There's no breathing space in Bart intentionally. So actually doing something that's kind of compressive and selective with the language is a great way to make something different and make something new out of it.
All right, Gabe next, and then Lily. Why is this valuable to do, if you think so?
I think so because it's another form of reading this kind of writing. And so
writing is reading. That's cool.
Well, yeah. But what's good about it is the same as what's good about reading, which is the opportunity to selectively absorb something else's view of the world or simulation of the world.
Yeah, and there's nothing like getting so inside a text, which she does 3 different ways, to really understand the language of that text. It's really a way of achieving a certain kind of deep understanding. Yeah, that's cool. Lily, then Jason?
I think a lot of the texts in our chapter this week are about processing, sometimes taken in the literal sense, meaning like computer processing. And so I think this is good to do because even if you don't consider your final result a poem, or even if you do, you've taken and like legislated some space for yourself to process the work that you're reading. So just adding on to what Gabe said about reading, it's like making part of reading also processing.
Fantastic. Jason and then Jess?
And in a way, what Colette did was take the original instructions and extrapolated and added her own. And the mesostic, even though it seems like perhaps a rigid formal exercise of kind of forced closed reading, is actually an invitation to come up with new rules. It's obviously a random crazy rule, so why not come up with more, and why not see what language is produced and how it pulls itself together once you've got it on the page.
That's great. Thank you. Jess, then Dave, then Erica.
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, I mean...
Is it a poem?
Yes. And I think something that Lily said, right? This is good to do, right? Your sentence started with that. And I think just the fact that it is a thing to do and that it feels like doing something is really valuable, because sometimes like reading, right, like just becomes so rote that it doesn't feel like we're doing anything, but to really activate the reading, as Gabe was saying,
Activate the reading.
You know, as a process, and to make the process itself the creation or the outcome, to sort of question that, like, you know, duality of like process and outcome.
Yeah.
This is just what everybody has been saying, but
yeah,
there's so much value in that.
Dave Poplar.
Yeah, this might be more of an observation, but I find it really interesting that even when we're doing close readings, it seems like we can't get away from authorial intent that's always there, even when we're just focusing on the language in the back of our minds. We're still thinking about the poet. But with this type of poetry, the poet becomes nothing more than really a facilitator, almost like what we're doing in MOOCs. So in that way, we're freed from that constraint of authorial intent, and gives us another way of looking at the text, almost like we're being code breakers. I've been reading a lot about World War II and the code breakers, and how they analyze information that they didn't really understand. They only knew bits and pieces of it, and it seems like that's what we're doing here. We're finding meaning in a completely different way.
Did I hear in the middle of that a reference to this particular setting, Modpo? Yeah. And so
Yeah,
in a
the
way, if we're going to
facilitator, yeah.
interpret Colette's effort, the fully contextual meaning of it is to be found in this thing that she did in the spirit of the assignment number 4, posting it, getting responses, etc. Are you saying that that's part of the co-creation?
Yeah, it's hyper meta, I guess.
Meta, meta, meta.
Yeah.
Okay, Erica, what are you thinking?
I feel like y'all just set me up to talk about one of my favorite things, which is I'm thinking about John Dewey and the idea of learning through actually doing something,
Right.
and the mesostic form and Colette's take on it in particular. It's the co-creation of the mesostic. It's also doing something visually where you're actually making tactile things out of language. And
Yeah.
I also am really interested in mesostics and how there's an interplay or a blending of voices. So it's not just the writer writing.
Right.
There's a lot of other voices speaking to each other.